I have kind of a fun project today. I have some of these Cheerson CX10-WDs. These are fun little things right here. These things are a total blast. I bought 2 of them. I've given a couple away as gifts even. I love these things. They're so much fun. They're very easy to control. I'm sure you can go around on YouTube and find all kinds of videos on how to control them, and reviews of actual drone people that know what they're talking about when they review these. But they height hold, so you don't have to worry about trying to keep it at the same level. They have automatic height hold. They're really stable flyers. But what I'm going to do today is I have one of them that I've taken all apart, and I'm going to replace the battery here. And I have a couple of these, and I want to be able to differentiate when they're in the sky. So I'm going, the little LEDs that are at the edges here, I'm going to replace the LEDs in one of mine for different colors. They come with blue in the front, red in the back. I think I'm going to put white in the front and maybe green in the back. I don't know. We'll try it out. First things first, I'm going to take this battery off and put a new battery in. I'm just going to show the process of taking this little guy apart. So you need a number 0 Phillips screwdriver, and there's four screws in the bottom of here. You're going to take out all 4 screws. Then I'm going to take the rotor blades off here. So you got to be careful with these. Get right underneath the hub. Just give them a little pop. And you can take them off by hand. I like to lay them out on the table in the way they came off, rather than sitting there and trying to figure out which way the propellers are facing, which way they need to go on. Then you have these clips around the motors here. Some of these are broken up. This little drone has been through a lot. And there's your little drone. Everything else just slides out. The motors are kind of wedged in, so you want to lift up each motor a little bit. And then lift up the whole flight board, logic board. And then be gentle on these wires here for the Wi-Fi board. And there you have it. You have the base here that it was in, and at the very bottom is the Wi-Fi module with the camera connected to it. So this this antenna that's sticking out of the side of it, that's the Wi-Fi antenna for your first-person view connection and your video recording. And we got the control board. I should look up the number on this and see if it's the gyroscope mounted on top or the control chip. It's probably some kind of microcontroller or the gyroscope. Maybe this little one's the gyroscope. And you got the main flight board with the 4 motors, 2 clockwise, 2 counterclockwise, and the battery attached to the bottom here. So let's go ahead and separate this battery from here. I want to keep the isolator on the board. This antenna is for the flight control. I was thinking, man, I might get better range for the flight control if I stick that out of the other side of it, maybe. I don't know, I might try that later on. Let's go ahead and unsolder this battery. I just noticed that the ground wire for the Wi-Fi module is soldered right next to where the, let's see if I can get that on camera. The ground wire coming in here. Soldered onto the board right next to where the battery goes. So be careful not to disconnect that, or if you disconnect it, make sure you put it back. So let's go ahead and put the new one on. Oh, geez, it's so light. Just the wires are moving it around all over the place. You want to try to center the battery in the body. Now let's see if it turns on. Everything's turning on, seems to be running good. So now let's get into the changing of the LEDs. For changing these LEDs, we're going to have to identify the size of the LEDs. So I'm sure there's ways to measure these, but I don't do that. All I do is I have a bunch of different size LEDs here. So I'm just going to pull one out that looks about the right size and hold it up next to it and see if it is. So here I got a pack of 0805 LEDs. See if that's about the same size. That looks about the same. Let me go one smaller. This is 0603 LEDs. See if that looks right. Yeah, I think that's the size. 0603. So now that we know the size of the LEDs, now we need to choose something that's the same rating. And a good resource to find out what these LEDs are rated for, eBay of all places. So right here I have one of the listings. All I did was search for SMD LED, and a bunch of car LEDs, car replacement bulbs come up. But somewhere in the mix you see this one guy who's got all the different surface mount LEDs. If you scroll down in his listing here, and what did we say? What size are these? 0603s. So 0603s. So we're replacing blue. So the blue are 3 volts, 3.4 volts. So we want to replace them. We can only replace them with a color that's going to be in the 3.0 to 3.4 volt range. So we can use green, purple, white, warm white, or pink. So I'm going to use white because it's the front of it. So I'm gonna try white. Let's give it a little bit of flux. Let's remove this blue LED. Now I'm going to see if I could identify some polarization markings or something. Show me which way this was on here. Okay. Go. That's which way it was on there. So let's grab our white LED. I believe I am holding it in the same orientation. Get a good grip on it. And then we'll heat up that solder again. May have heated that a little bit too much. I'm going to turn down my hot air for the next one. Now let's get it off this conductive plate, and we'll see if it lights. Now I'll do the other one. Let's see which way that was on there. For anybody that doesn't know, LEDs are polarity sensitive. They're diodes. They only flow in one direction. So when you put an LED on something, you need to make sure you put it on the right way. It's not like a light bulb where you could just plug it in however you want. Okay. And that should be correct. I will heat that right back on there. So I actually like the look of that a lot better. The white in the front and the red in the back. But I wonder if it's even as bright as the blue. Maybe they chose blue because it's easier to see. Then I'm going to go take it out for a flight and see what it looks like. Go over one last thing here. The top little board that I mentioned when I first took it apart that looked like the sensor board. That's exactly what it is. Mounted on the very top of the flight board, where all the motors are and the LEDs that we changed here, on a cushion is the little sensor board. This chip here is the gyroscope and accelerometer chip. That's what controls basically the whole attitude of the flight. And then this chip over here is the barometric pressure sensor for the height hold, which is an awesome feature that this little thing has, that you don't have to try to hold the height, it holds it for you, and that's the responsibility of this little chip. And I thought it was pretty neat that you can see right down into the chip, and you can see the bond wires. Going from the actual chip in the middle to the pad, and whatever the barometric pressure sensor is in there. Haven't been able to find a data sheet on this one. I guess it's going to be kind of difficult. Might be some kind of generic thing or something. hard to read the number. SMDS6P. Not sure whose symbol that is next to it. Oh, a trick for anybody, whenever you're having a hard time reading these numbers, you can't read it at all there. What I do is turn off one side of my light. I cover it. I didn't get the microscope light that you can turn off the 4 different regions. But all I do is cover up the right side of my light, and you can see the letters stand out nice and clear to you now. Not so much with the left side. Yeah, that seems to just be perfect. Brings the letters right out to you. As far as the that chip goes, that's very well laser engraved. You could read that no problem. I thought that was interesting. Catch you next time.